Welcome to the Sacred Feminine Power podcast, where we explore the many facets of feminine power and why it is so important for women and for men to step into this power in our world at this time. This is Emmy from Feminine Revered, and my beautiful guest for today is Mare Cromwell. Mare has surrendered to serve the Great Mother. She's an internationally known Gaia communicator and high priestess, author, healer, and visionary. Her award-winning books include Messages from Mother, Earth Mother, and the Great Mother Bible. She has studied with Native American teachers for 26 years along with other gifted mentors, and is the visionary and co-weaver of the Thousand Goddesses Gathering Global Grid. Mare also leads the Great Mother Love Way year-long course. She's a midwife of the New Earth, devoted to the Divine Mother in all of her manifestations. And Mare is coming onto the podcast for the second time. And in between our two interviews, Mare has also been to Zambia visiting me. And we did some beautiful, beautiful healing ceremonies, really connected with the nature, with Mama Gaia in that side of the world, that part of the world. And just very delighted to have her back on the podcast. So welcome, Mare.
Thank you, Emmy. It's really an honor to be back here with you. I always love hanging out with you. So thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you with us. And today we are going to be focusing on a very, very special event. We're going to be talking about the Thousand Goddesses Gathering. And Mare, I would love for you to tell us right from the beginning, since you are the founder of this global event, how did this gathering come about?
Well, it started, Emmy, because I, in late fall of 2015, saw a posting on Facebook from Claire Dubois, who is the head of Tree Sisters. And she mentioned this Tibetan prophecy that when 1,000 goddesses or Tibetan Taras unite, this will shift the tone of the planet from fear to compassion. And she was using this mentioning this prophecy as a call for women to gather to raise money to help reforest the planet, which is greatly, greatly needed. And as soon as I read that on Facebook, I immediately heard Mother Gaia speak to me, because she talks with me all the time. And she said, and that I was to, she said, and you're going to organize that in the physical. And I was like, what? You want me to do what? That's a big job. And of course, then I said to her, so you're going to help me, right? Because this is a big project. And she said, of course I will. Mm-hmm. So we thought, there was another woman who saw the posting about it. I posted something about it, and she's like, oh my God, this would be amazing. Let's do this. So we started planning for a weekend event somewhere in the mid-Atlantic, where women would register for the weekend, and we would have vendors, and there'd be registration. And then that was moving along, and we thought this was a great idea, huge goddess ceremony and a celebration. And then Mother woke me up, which is her way of really getting my attention. In late July of 2016, we thought we were going to do this weekend event in 2017. She woke me up and she said, this needs to happen. This goddesses gathering needs to happen in Washington, D.C., before the elections of 2016, that November. And I was like, what? What? But, you know, I surrendered to serve Mother. It's a very deep commitment. And I said, okay, and you're going to help, right? And she said, of course. So I got out of bed at like 5:30 in the morning. I said, what date? And she said, I think it was October 24th. And I said, okay. And so it was amazing. We pulled it off. An amazing group of volunteers came together. We did it on the Washington Mall. We had a big ceremony for the goddess, for the Divine Feminine on the Washington Mall in late October. And it's pretty complicated to get a permit and do events on the Washington Mall. So there were a lot of hoops I had to go through. I was very tested. But we did it. But what happened that day was rather mind-blowing. And then I understood why Mother wanted this to happen. Was in the midst of the high ceremony that was led that day, and I asked a very gifted Ocean High Priestess, Yeye Amileye, to come and lead it. Couple really gifted light workers saw a massive conduit of white light come in from the cosmos right into the ground in the middle of our ceremony. And this was a tremendous amount of energy that came in. We had called in all the spirit teams. We were doing high ceremony, and this energy, and I'm feeling it. Whenever I talk about it, I feel it. Maybe you feel it, Emmy.
Yes.
And it radiated deeply into the ground there. Everybody who was there at this event got an activation. Some people were high for a couple of days. Some people were like crawling off, the mall to get to the metro to go home. People respond in different ways. But what it did though was it brought in so much luminous love energy that it cleared these dense energies in the center of DC. And what I was told by a really gifted light worker is it radiated out in a concentrated way about 3 miles, and that includes the White House, the Capitol building, even the Pentagon is part of that 3-mile radius, the Potomac River, all these federal buildings down there and offices. And it cleared them of all these dense energies, which was mind-blowing. And I sent a spiritual energy report out to everybody who registered, who came, because this was an event in person on the mall. And this woman contacted me 2 weeks later, and she said that she worked in the Pentagon and that she wanted to let me know that since the Thousand Goddesses gathering, she thought it was her and a shift in her. But then she realized it was because of the ceremony and this massive amount of light that came in, that she noticed a lot less wounded masculine behavior in the Pentagon following that gathering, that high ceremony. So that was very humbling. And that's why Mother wanted us to do it. So we did it in DC again on the Washington Mall 2 years later, 2018. And again, people witnessed, and it was even videotaped, a massive conduit of white light came in and did the same thing, cleared all these dense energies. And needless to say, it's a lot of work to put these events on the Washington Mall. It's not really something that I consider what I'm focused on in my life. So I was very grateful that I got the spiritual permission after that second one, that I didn't need to do any more on the Washington Mall as a live event, but that it was to expand as a global grid of ceremonies all around the world, to really be a unified field of divine feminine healing energy, invoking all the divine feminine beings that we work with, regardless of who you are around the world. If you've got your teams, we're inviting you to be part of this. And so that's what we have done from 2019 to now. And so this will be the actual 6th time that we do this. And even the first 2 that were on the Washington Mall, there were other people that joined us from different locations. They were like, we want to do this where we are, and we'll link in with you. And I said, that'd be great. Perfect. So that's how it has evolved.
Wow, that is amazing. And seriously, never underestimate the power of high ceremony and of people committed to the same cause coming together in sacred circle and just intentionally calling in the Great Mother. And you never know how far those energies really travel and reach. It really is incredible.
Yeah, no, it really is incredible. And a lot of people don't have a background in ceremony. They may think, oh yeah, I've gone to mass when I was a kid, but this is really calling on the spirit teams that are serving Mother Gaia's highest good. I always put that as a qualifier. And it's been remarkable how this global grid has expanded in different ways. And I'm not talking about just expanding in the numbers of ceremonies. I'm talking about how the nature spirits have gotten involved. I work with a very gifted nature spirit mystic friend named Cornelis Jan Couperus, who's based in the Netherlands. And
He's
last
been on the
year,
podcast, so
yeah,
the
that's right.
community
He's
knows
been
him.
interviewed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please watch that interview with him. Cornelis is amazing. But he came forward with a message last year, a week before the global grid was about to happen, and said that the nature spirits are putting a call out, and they would like all the ceremonial leaders around the world to invite the wounded nature spirits into their ceremonies so that these nature spirits can receive healing. So this is the kind of thing that can happen when we do ceremony and we are invited to call in, all these beautiful beings that are part of our sacred earth. There's more I can share about what happened last year that was really mind blowing. I'll share this one piece because some of the people I know work very closely with the unicorn realms, and all these beings exist in the multidimensional realms. And the unicorn realms were invited to be part of it, and they already knew that the focus last year, a major part of the focus last year, was on our womb hearts, healing our womb spaces, awakening the very core of our womb space, which where there is a womb heart. And the unicorns flew around all around the planet, and this was witnessed by a couple people. They flew in and they actually touched their horns, which is very healing to all the women that were involved in the ceremonies. They touched their womb spaces to offer them healing energy to help their womb hearts awaken. I mean, that was
Mm.
part of what happened last year. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen this year because, it's all divine plan aligned. But the teams are definitely already on the spirit planes, very aware of what needs to happen. And they're already planning to come forward to support all of us.
That's beautiful. What is the theme for this year?
The theme for this year, and this was a message that came through from Mother in the middle of July, was she wants us to have a party. She wants these ceremonies to not only be ceremony, but to also to dance, to drum, to move our bodies, to just get our yayas out, because we've been going through so much over the past few years. There's been so much trauma and the pandemic and just a lot of really hard energies for us to work through. And another thing that Mother has put the invitation out for is to keen. And actually, if you're comfortable doing this in your sacred circle, is to release, emote. And if you don't know what keening is, it's an ancient practice of just basically moaning and groaning and even screaming if you need to release the grief, to release that trapped emotion. And so Mother has put that invitation out to us to have it be a party, but just move your body, emote, clear the energies. And this will help to uh, encourage our womb spaces to be cleared too. This will actually focus on our womb hearts too when we invite that energy in there.
That's beautiful. And I think the keening is such a beautiful way of bringing back an ancient sacred practice that is hugely powerful. And when we allow ourselves to go into that space and feel safe enough to go into that space where we can just truly express our grief in that way, it is very, very powerful. So I'm hoping that a lot of women and perhaps the men as well who will be joining in these ceremonies around the world will be open to that and perhaps led by spirit to go into that state and just keen.
Yeah, I hope so too. And thank you for bringing up the men too, because the invitation from Mother is that for those ceremonial leaders who are comfortable doing this, to please invite men to join you. And you can ask them to be sacred guardians, ask them to hold space, help them step into a divine masculine aspect of themselves that we are calling for around the world, is the men to wake up into their divine masculine self. And we actually did have a divine masculine committee when we did the second event on the Washington Mall. And in that high ceremony, which was actually a couple of priestesses offering different parts of the whole ceremony, there was a tremendous couple from California that came out, Diana and Michael Melchizedek, and they knighted. They actually, when they do this in California, they do it with a sword, but they had they call it a selenite rod, and they knighted a couple of the men. And what I'm talking about actually is the men were asked to make a commitment to say yes to these vows, to step into their divine masculine self, to stand beside the divine feminine, to support Mother Gaia. And so the men that came forward were basically representing all the men there. And it was very powerful. And women were crying, listening to these men make these commitments. It just touched so many people so deeply that here are men who are stepping forward and making that commitment to heal. to show up in a new level of embodying their divinity and their higher self. So the Thousand Goddesses Gathering is definitely inviting all the men to participate as they're guided, and as the ceremonial leaders who work in the various regions on the world want to invite them, because it really is the initiative of the women who are organizing these ceremonies as to what they want to do and what they're comfortable with. But the invitation is, please invite the men too, if you're comfortable with that.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mayor, I know that you have some really beautiful, gorgeous artwork that is being sponsored by a beautiful artist for this year's gathering specifically. And I think she's been featured in the previous years as well. Would you please speak a little bit about Claudia as well?
Yeah, it's really an honor for us to be able to use the artist Claudia Olivos to use her goddess paintings on the Thousand Goddesses Gathering website. Uh, I was so blessed and honored and touched when I reached out to Claudia to ask her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I would love that." So I want to put a huge amount of love and gratitude out to her and invite people to, explore her website. You can link from the images on the Thousand Goddesses Gathering website to her website. And she just does gorgeous work. And she really brings forward the energies of the different goddesses that she paints. I mean, it's just powerful, powerful work. So I'm just so grateful to her for all of her support there.
Absolutely. Shout out to Claudia there for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you interviewed her too, didn't you, in one of your podcasts?
I will be. She's coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, okay,
So yeah,
okay.
I'm looking forward to
Beautiful.
that. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
And perhaps also important to mention the beautiful sponsors that we have for the gathering this year. Would you please share a little bit more about the sponsorship opportunity and who our current sponsors are, because it is an important part of this gathering as well.
It really is. But before we do that, I also want to say that this particular global grid, this unified field this year, is dedicated to Celestine Starr,
Mm.
who was a high priestess who passed in early July this summer. Tremendous, tremendous woman, very, very gifted, very powerful. She actually was part of one of the priestesses that led ceremony on the Washington Mall in 2018. And then she joined the Thousand Goddesses Gathering Advisory Council the following year. And Celestine just touched so many people and embodied the Great Mother just so deeply. And so when I knew that she was sick last year and through the winter, she was staying very quiet about it, and then she passed of cancer in early July. So Mother Gaia said it's really important to dedicate this ceremony, this year's global grid of ceremonies, to Celestine. So Celestine, we love you, we honor you, we miss you. Thank you for all that you touched us with when you were still in the physical. Really, really love
Mm.
her.
And no doubt she will
Yeah.
be joining us from the spirit planes this year as well.
Yeah, she already has been to some degree. So it's been really wonderful to feel her come in energetically.
Mm.
So yeah, the sponsors, that is, we are indebted to the sponsors and even the partners too of this global grid. Our sponsors this year are Dale Allen, who has created a documentary called In Her Right Mind.
She's also
Laura
been on the podcast.
Yeah, you've interviewed her, right?
Yeah.
And Laura Solomon is one of our sponsors. She does beautiful healing wisdom work. I don't know her that closely. You know her better than I do.
And there's a
Uh,
beautiful interview with her also on the Sacred Feminine Power podcast. So you will
right,
get to
right.
know her
It's like
better.
part of the family. Um, Kath Forrest of the Celestial Forest Institute is one of our sponsors, and she does powerful work around the womb wisdom and the shamanic temple that sits within our womb space. Um, the red Tara tent, oh dear.
Tree, red Tara tree.
Red Tower Tree, they're a sponsor this year, and they're beautiful. The work they're doing is about encouraging us to offer our moon blood to the trees to reconnect us back with the sacred planet and help wake the men up. There's a Hopi prophecy about that. Um, Shirley Lohmeyer is one of our sponsors. Now, you know her better than I do also.
Yes,
She's
she's
been
also
part of
been
the
on the
podcast.
podcast.
Right, right. Uh, Shamet Horsfield is part of is one of our sponsors, and she does powerful work about awakening the priestess within. I love Shamet's work. Let me see, have I covered everybody?
Cindy
I think I've
Kershaw? Cindy Kershaw, Over the Moon Design.
yes, 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 sorry. Um, Cindy Kershaw is an amazing graphic designer who you and I have both worked with. And she's very, very creative. And so please look at her work. All of our sponsors are featured on the homepage of the website, and there's their sponsor page on the website too. So thank you to all of them. Am I missing anybody else, Emmy? I
I
didn't
think
write them all
that's
down
it.
before we started.
I think that's it.
All
Yeah,
right, beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the
no,
sponsorship opportunities are still there as far as I understand. So if people who are listening to this want to contribute, want to donate, or want to share the message, they can also join as partners and just help us inform more and more people about this event.
yes, yes. And when you become a sponsor, you actually your logo will be on the website for the following year. It won't be taken down until early next summer. So it will be there for people to click on the link to find out more about you. So definitely the opportunity is still there for sponsorship if you're interested. And also the potential to be a partner, which means that we have your logo on our website, and we ask that you help to promote the global grid in your circles. So
Hmm, beautiful. And perhaps also for our listeners who are new to the gathering, maybe you can also share a little bit more about the concept of them being able to do ceremony wherever they are in the world and having this ceremony registered on the website as well.
yes, yes. So the premise of this whole global grid, as we've been talking about, is ceremony, to call in the spirit teams. And if you aren't that familiar with doing ceremony, there actually is a whole page on the website with ceremony suggestions that will walk you through to help you learn the steps of a certain approach to doing ceremony. There are many ways to do ceremony. Uh, so what we're asking is that please, please, please register your event through the links on the website. And that way we can put you on the global grid map, and we can get a sense of how extensive this unified field is. And I want to add one more piece to this, is that wait, before I go there, if your budget is tight, it's really a sliding scale. It's really to help offset our expenses, because there's a lot of time and energy that goes into and some hard costs into organizing all of this. But you can also just email us or contact us directly through the website and just let us know, look, my budget's tight. Here's my information. I'm going to be joining you from this location. We definitely want to know if your event is public, because we will put your URL link in the information on the actual page on the map, so that people can click on that location. And then if they live near you and they want to join you and you've got a public event, then they know how to reach you. So please let us know that. There is another piece, though, that I really want to share, is that one of the way that I'm blessed is I work with some very gifted cosmic shamans. And so when this event happens, this series of ceremonies around the world, there actually are people who will be working behind the scenery, who have very powerful spirit teams, who are going to be calling in even more of their teams to help weave the energies together to make this unified field as powerful as it can be to support Mother Gaia. And this is really all about helping to birth the new earth. It's really about helping to clear more denser energies from the earth. It's about helping us heal into our divine centers, our most holy womb space centers, so that we carry the energy, we carry our inner strength to really help to birth this new earth. So there are various teams that are working on different levels behind this unified field. It's really fun, actually.
Beautiful. And that's so important to know that there are these teams across time, space, and dimension also
Yeah,
holding
no,
space.
they really are. They really are. It's very, very humbling. But Emmy,
Mm,
we also want to invite people who wish to join us because you and I are going to be offering an online ceremony on October 22nd.
mhm.
So for those who wish to join Emmy and myself, this will be probably 45 minutes to an hour. Uh, please join us. You can register. There's a section about this on the homepage of the Thousand Goddess Gathering website. Please join us and register for that, and you'll get the information as to how to link in with us.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Drumming and singing and just celebrating together. So that will be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. Ceremony is always the best.
Absolutely. Yes.
And the teams are echoing yes. When it's done for the highest good for Mother Gaia, and Mother's like, yes, yes. All
Absolutely.
right.
Beautiful. Well, Mayor, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast again and sharing so beautifully and graciously about this gathering. And just a final invitation from me for everybody to come on board and join us on the 22nd of October. And Mayor, if there's anything else that's really arising for you to say at this moment, please do.
You know what, Emmy, we haven't mentioned is that you are co-hosting this year.
Oh.
And so I really want to thank you for saying yes when I got the nudge from Mother to ask you back in May or so. So
Hmm.
Emmy is actually is the co-host. This is the first time that we've had a co-host for the Thousand Goddess Gathering Global Grid. So I really want to send my love and my gratitude to you and thank you.
Thank you so much. It really is an honor and a blessing, and I am so excited to see what transpires when we start the ceremonies. So yes,
Yeah,
because so much
yeah,
is
it's
already
gonna be powerful.
transpiring.
Yes. As one
Beautiful.
woman put it yesterday in an email to me, she said, the energy is already rising. Can you feel it? I'm like, yes, I can feel it.
Yes, for
So
sure.
everyone is welcome to join. And all the
Hmm.
information is there on the website. And I know you're going to have that in the information below here.
I will do. Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. All right, Mayor, thank you so much for all who you are and all that you do and this sacred work that you are doing out there. So appreciate you.
Thank you, Emmy. Thank you.
Thank you.